Chairman Mike, you've been at the club for a good number of years. As we enter phase 2 now, is this as tight as you've seen it in recent seasons?
In recent seasons, yeah, you're right. We went through a little bit of a funny patch around the sort of October-y time where a few results didn't go in our direction. Yeah, I've got no God-given right to have them go in our direction, but possibly, some of those results could have been a little bit different. The first game against Connah's Quay really was a perfectly good goal by Draper. I've looked at it on the TV. He wasn't offside. So, perhaps that's 2 points. There was a couple of decisions that looked a bit strange as well, with a penalty decision, which perhaps on a different day wasn't given. Another couple of points. But hey, it's made it interesting for the league. I think that the next few games will start to work out whether we are a contender, whether we're a challenger, whether Barry, Connah's Quay, or perhaps even Bala emerge as a challenger. It's a tough one this season. I think everyone's up their game. Everyone wants to do better. I think managers have got shrewder, better, more experience. And we obviously went through a period of bringing in a number of new faces last season. So trying to get all those things together means that, we've got, for the outsider looking in, there's an exciting title race. But one of the things that does encourage me, league-wise, I don't think we've let a goal in 6 games. And we've scored too many goals than I can count on my 2 hands. So looking at whatever anyone might want to call a blip or whatever, seems that normal service has been restored. Very, very excited over the next few weeks. I'm really looking forward to the Barry Town game on Saturday. Barry are very, very long and dear rivals, and probably the club which I hold with the greatest respect to this league, because they were the forerunner but set a standard beyond everybody else by a country mile. And I suppose I use them as the yardstick from the historical Barry Town to say, look, my club wants to catch you and I want to overtake you. And I think that as the league has all improved, Barry Town, with its rich history, is improving with it, and I'm sure they're going to give a very, very good account of themselves in the run-in. So I think Saturday's game is going to be very interesting. They're never an easy team to beat, and if you look back in our history, even before they had the troubles, we didn't get the rub of the green against them of the wins that people may have thought. We lost a lot of those games. Yes, we won some very important games. We beat them in that cup final, the last one at the Cardiff Arms Park, which probably set our club to where it is today, because without that win, perhaps the board of Lance and Fried would not have knocked my door. And I would say that we've always tried to set standards, and let's say that now ourselves and Barry would always see each other as very respectable and respected competitors, and whoever's wins, you'd shake their hand. Always going to be very excited about. I think I'm going to be very excited about meeting up with Craig and Andy Morrison at Connah's Quay in a few weeks' time as well, because again, they've obviously invested a lot of time and money. They put together a very talented group of guys. Perhaps they don't play the style of football which our club plays, but it's very effective. And I think that they've probably got the team on paper and from pedigree that would be seen as the biggest challenge. And I suppose if they get their act together and turn up on the day, you can't guarantee what that result's going to be. That'll be a tough game, and I would imagine that both Craig and Andy are very keen to finish above us. But I would still say that because they probably recognise the quality of the players that we've got is why they've shown such interest in trying to sign a lot of them for next season. So I would have thought that they're not obviously comfortable that they've finished the job they want to do. So, I don't know which players, and we won't go into specific players, but I would have said to you that they're obviously keen to probably try and attract some of our better players to go to them, which, hey, that's football. And yes, I've made a little bit of a joke about it, and let's hope that they've got enough personality to be able to carry that through, because at the end of the day, this is football, and it's a spectator sport. And yes, I'm an outspoken chairman. Yes, I will make sure that our football club is there or thereabouts at the end of the season by using ensuring that my players are well protected, my managers well protected, and that we afford them all the best facilities. Plus, I'd like to hope that the players really do enjoy playing at our football club.
Back to the blip that we referred to, Mike, which was last autumn. Now it seems like an eternity away, which of course in football terms it is quite some time. 5 points from 5 JD Welsh Premier League games at that time. We know the thoughts of the manager, the players. We interviewed them regularly, of course, during that spell. But as the chairman of the football club, how concerned were you during that time?
Well, I wouldn't say concerned. What I was interested to understand is why, when you analyse it, you can see rubs of green. Things didn't go quite our way. Sometimes it can be... And whatever, we had 1 or 2 lads out. There was a few new lads coming in as well because of the new signings. And it does take time for these to rebalance things. And teams put up some great performances. And during that time, I can also say that we had 1 or 2 decisions that you might question. And I'm not blaming other, but again, you get your share of luck, don't you? No result is ever as good or as bad as what it would seem at the time when the final whistle goes. At the end of the day, you measure your league at the end of the season, and I've got to say, like a lot of people talk about fashion. Oh, that's so last year. So we don't talk about blips, we don't focus and dwell on that. The game's moved on, and if you look at some of the style of the football we play, I don't think we've ever played as good football as in patches that we've done. If I go back to the LAN-F League game at the start of the season, we've never played under any manager prior the standard and the speed of execution and the style of that game. I know the game was only 2-0, but if you watch the first 25 minutes of that game, you would have thought you were watching Brazil. So we know that we've got the playing personalities. We know that Scott and Evo are capable of taking us to another level from where we've ever been before. And we know it's a journey. And during that journey, we will always need to continue to bring in new faces. And sometimes it takes a little bit more time to get those new faces in. And if I go back to Craig's era, we had a bunch of talented lads who were coming through, which were just starting to replace the lads from Ken's era, where Ken had a great technical team. You couldn't fault them. But what Craig managed to develop was a team that could play to that level, and we ended up going beyond. And I believe that Scott and Evo will do the same again and take us to another level where, again, we can only judge that standard by not the trophies that we pick up in the domestic league, but how we compare when we go to Europe. And I've always been open and said that this club's ambition, my ambition, is to qualify for one of the group stages, whether it's the Europa League or whether it's the Champions League group stages. And that is how we will measure over the tests of time where and how our football club has developed. And I think you only have to get the history books out to look at our results through Europe and to where we're starting to try and close that gap. There's certain hurdles which are very difficult to overcome, particularly when you look at budgets of clubs who you're coming up against. Now, I'm not saying money isn't the only thing that wins football clubs, but you need enough to be able to get the talent which you can work with. And even the Gibraltar teams, which we played over a couple of seasons, both those clubs spend more than us on players' wages. So, as you can tell, even though people say, oh, it's only a Gibraltar team, those players are being attracted to their football club based on a higher budget than we have at ours. And so the work that our managers do, and our coaches and our fitness staff and the family that surrounds the football, the fans, the stewards, the people who work at the venue, create an environment that brings out the very best in the players that we're able to attract. And likewise, I think that we're actually attracting players who could possibly go elsewhere for more money. So it isn't just about money that attracts them. And you can see that by the fact that we are able to attract players from the Scottish Premier League. We're able to have foreign international players trying to break into our squad. Just recently, we've had several who've come on trial. Sadly, they haven't quite made it at our club, but they're obviously now making it in other areas. So that's how far we've gone, and let's say to you that the roadmap that we're looking to write continues, because as some of our players who've served the club really well come to the ends of their playing careers, we'd like to hope that we can find a place for them to continue within our football family, whether that's in coaching, whether that's in the medical side, and we're very keen to. So not just their football experience can be handed down; it's their whole experience of being at the club. The fact that they always get paid on time, all taxes are paid. The club is run extremely well. You mean Ian and Helen and the team of people that they've got that do the administration to the club is done professionally, done very well. There's plenty of attention to detail. Our academy programme, I believe, is second to no other. We invest very, very heavily there. And we have no guarantees of return on it. But as a football club, what we are doing is producing footballers who play in the TNS way. And that's very important to us. It's not win at all costs and let's win ugly. This is, we are a football club that wants to win in style, entertain the public and score goals. There is no other way to play football. From a chairman's point of view, I prefer to play football. Anybody who wants to play gamesmanship or different style of football that isn't really what I've got involved in football in. So I'm perhaps come out of what you might call the Arsenal or the Man United period. It's attack, score goals. And if you do let one in or two in, just make sure you can score more goals than the other team. And that's how I think the football should be played. Attacking football, creative football, stuff that gets people standing up and shouting and cheering, and that over time, those players who can play in that manner will get recognised. So that's perhaps old school, perhaps that's the idealist, perhaps that's the people say, oh, those things, but that's my idea and that's my way. And if our football club doesn't operate that way, I wouldn't be interested in being involved in it. So it's quite a simple philosophy, really.
And as we bring ourselves right up to date, Mike, the team, as you said, 6 consecutive clean sheets in the JD Welsh Premier League, 28 goals, that's an average of 4.6 per game. It's certainly a confidence booster going into the second phase, flying high and looking to retain the trophy for the 8th successive season.
Absolutely, and if you look at it, when you're going into the business end, which is when the league splits, so the better teams from the league are in that top 6 by league position. I was very encouraged by the result we had against Newtown last week, which would show that Newtown are a very, very good side. They didn't know what to do. you can see that they were a class difference, and that's not normally the case. It's very difficult to beat Newtown, so it's very, very encouraging that going into the second phase, getting a 5-0 win, because that says, hey, we're here, we haven't gone anywhere, we are the champions, and we are aiming not to lose our title to anybody this season.
Mike, thank you for your time today, very much appreciated, and we look forward to another instalment of the Thoughts of Chairman Mike in due course.
Thank you very much, Rev. So hopefully next week I've still got a big smile on my face for football.